The reading today is from Meditations on Intention and Being, and these are done in days as well. This is day 116. It's called When to Keep Going. I was taught land navigation before the widespread adoption of GPS. The technology of the time was a map and a compass. In the military, they would take you out into the woods and tell you to find several consecutive points over the course of a couple of hours. Each point was about 8 football fields from the last through Georgia pine forest. Before you began, you would find your pace count by walking 100 yards and counting how many steps it took. My count was 64 paces. You determine your direction with your compass and head out, counting paces as you went. If you were wise, you would recheck your direction every 50 yards or so. The direction your compass provided was usually good enough so that the decisive factor in determining the location of the checkpoint you were seeking was the pace count. New students would get anxious about 80% of the way there, unconsciously shortening their steps as they began looking around for the checkpoint. Because of this change, your pace count would lead you to think that the checkpoint should be located about 10% short of your actual destination. This precipitated a crisis during which the student would stop using navigation skills and start frantically and uselessly looking around for the checkpoint. It took me between 5 and 10 attempts to figure out what was going on. Eventually, I learned when to be content with my direction and keep going. It's that inner trust, right? Set an intention for your practice if you want to, maybe one little word, and take stock of what you're feeling. Decide whether or not there's a place in the body that you want to direct a little more energy or attention today. And as we're approaching this time change, just knowing how you feel in the morning, especially when it's dark outside. We'll start with our necks first. We'll drop left ear down to left shoulder. Make sure that we're lifting through that right ear. If you want to move the right arm, you could just lay it down on the floor next to you or move it, but just easy, gentle, not too much movement here. Remember, we can start to wrap that stretch around behind the neck by starting to tuck the chin or dialing the nose to the left. Just inviting a little bit of a longer hold here in whichever variation you're in today. Eventually, we'll bring the head up through center gently. Inhale tall, exhale right ear to right shoulder. Left hand can float down. Pay attention to the right shoulder here. We want to make sure that it's not crunching up towards the ear, so you can just soften it down or maybe put the right hand in your lap to help facilitate that low shoulder. Lifting through the top ear. Maybe tucking the chin or dialing the nose, but deciding what feels like it's getting where you need a little extra attention. When you're ready, we'll come back through center. Fingers are going to come to that bottom jaw while we lightly push the head back. It's more pulling it back with the muscles on the back and kind of holding that there and softening and then squeezing back. Maybe about 4 or 5 times, just trying to get that sensation of the double or triple chin. Gently pushing back, feeling that. Still hugging the belly in here. And then release, and we'll take that gaze up, leading with the chin. We jut it forward, then we lift. We jut the chin forward and we lift. Maybe one more time we do that. Soften the shoulders. I don't know about you, my eyebrows are somehow connected to lifting my jaw. You may feel the same way. Just awareness, no judgment. Gradually let the head come back through center. We'll tuck the chin ever so slightly. Reach through the crown of the head. Heavy shoulders here, as if someone was putting their hands on the shoulders and holding them down. Invite that stretch along the tops of the shoulders, along the back of that trap muscle there. Anytime you're ready, we'll come back through center. Switch your lead leg if you've got one, and remember that you can grab that front ankle and pull it in to help facilitate that better posture, more support. Left hand's gonna come down, right arm's gonna lift and reach. We'll tip over to that left. Honor the shoulder here. Maybe arms out in front, maybe it's up, maybe we're bobbing, but make this whatever would feel nice to you. As we inhale, we can lift up and open the arm, and as we exhale, we can hinge over a little bit more. Next time you bob up, hug the belly, let both arms come up, and we'll take them over to the other side. Left arm lifts, big inhale, exhale, we tip. Noticing the differences here, inviting space in the rib cage. We'll come back through center, let the hands float down. Take whatever easy seat you want. We're just going to pay attention to the hands for a minute. So if that's uncrossing the legs and getting more comfortable, feel free. Either hand, I'm going to start with my left hand. We're going to massage down at the base. Push in with that thumb so you're digging in a little bit, and gently walk it out along the little pinky. When you get to the pinky, walk it down, give a couple tugs, a couple squeezes, and then move on to the next one. This can take as long as you want. If you find that there's just one particular finger that needs a little more, give it a little more. Make sure that you pay attention to the space between the thumb and the fingers there. And once you've done palm facing, you're going to flip that hand over and do the same thing, starting at the back of the hand, just above the wrist, making your way all the way down. And the hands don't have to be real stiff and, cardboard. You can let them be soft so that you're really manipulating them like little Play-Doh, getting into the places that feel comfortable. In your own time, when you're ready, make sure we get some love on that other hand. And when you're done, just give yourself a chance to kind of flare them out. Open the fingers, spread them out, hug them in really tight, and open them out, hug them in a couple times. And then same invitation for the wrist. Thumb's gonna come to the front of the wrist, just gonna grab and kind of give a little squeeze and a little rub on both sides. Perfect, and we'll rise when you're ready. If you've got your two blocks, we're going to take those up to the top of the mat and just leave them there. And we'll take some empty coat sleeves just to get things moving and shaking a little bit. Middle of the mat, feet together. We'll bring the hands to the collarbones, bend the knees, and hop out. Dial the toes out, assess whether or not you feel like you're comfortable here for goddess pose. If you want to squeeze them in and heel toe them in a little bit so they're less wide, perfect. Wrists are going to cross in the front. Inhale, we sink down, bend the knees, arms overhead. Exhale, we push. Can we do two slow? And then three quick when you get there. Still thinking about good form. We're just kind of hopping, almost bending down. Nice. And then we'll meet in goddess pose. Palms to the face, make little fists. Pull down till you feel it in the belly. Hug the belly. Both heels. Can we hop up and down? And hop up and down. Just one heel, doesn't matter. Your favorite heel, your least favorite heel. Don't tell it we said that. Gently let the hands come down. Chest is going to come forward, so we're going to straighten the legs a little bit here. Dial the toes in a little bit so we've got outside edges of the feet parallel. Not pushing too hard in the hands. Right hand's gonna push on the thigh while we look over the left shoulder. Left hand's gonna push while we look over the right. If this feels nice, you can hang out here for a moment, taking a breath or two, or you can just move gently from side to side. But notice where you feel this. We can begin to bend one knee while we're looking to the right. We can bend the right leg, or looking to the left, we can bend the left leg, straighten the other leg. Yeah, you'll start to get a little more movement in the back of those legs, just inviting some space. Come back to center. We're going to take the hands and cross them. Right hand's going to come over to the left thigh. Left hand's going to come over to the right thigh. Hinge forward a little bit so the chest is parallel to the floor. We're going to roll left side waist over to the left leg. And then roll across the front, right side waist over to the right side. Kind of like a little corkscrew here. Make sure we're not hinging too far forward so you're dumping into the low back here. Take a look at the hands. We're going to switch that crisscross. Left hand's going to be on the bottom, right arm's going to come on top, and we'll do the same thing, rolling left side to side, right side to the right, back and forth. Release the hands. Test how it feels to put the hands down on the floor and just turn this into a wide leg fold. If you need to bring the blocks over, you can grab your block and bring that over. You could heel toe the feet wider, or you can heel toe them closer. Once you get them settled, double check outside blade of the feet parallel to each other, soft bend in the knees, scoop the tailbone up to the sky. If you have a block underneath, we're pushing it away. If it's hands on the floor, you're pushing the floor away to support the torso with the arms. Feel free to rock back and forth a little bit or side to side. You'll come back through center when you're ready. Heel toe the feet all the way together. Bend the knees, sink down low so we can rise up through chair pose. Nice. Slow and easy, push, push, all the way up. All right, step into the top of the mat when you're ready. We'll inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale into your chair pose. Bend the knees. Arms can be up, arms can be out, arms can be down. Maybe one is up, one is down. Whatever this looks like is fine. Make sure that we're not reaching with those arms because that's going to come from the low back. Same way we pull those ropes, you're going to plug the shoulders in a little bit so you're sitting. Hinge forward into your forward fold. Halfway lift here. Hands on the blocks. 90 degrees at the hips. Bend the knees, scoop the tailbone up to the sky. Pick up the toes, push the floor away. Breathe into the back of the legs here, and then add another little puff of air to the back side of the body so that we've got a little more lift through the shoulder blades behind you. When you're ready, we're going to bend the knees. Nice and low chair. Come up through the kitchen chair, up to the bar stool, all the way up, arms overhead. Interlace the thumbs here. Plant the feet. We're going to lean to the left a little bit and look to the right if we can. If this is uncomfortable for the shoulders, just open the hands. Back through center. Other side. We're going to lean to the right and look to the left. Feel free to unhook the thumbs and see if that feels better. Back through center. Big inhale, we reach. Exhale, we hinge forward. Hands come down to the blocks. Halfway lift. Back through chair when you're ready. And these don't have to be deep chairs. Bend the knees, arms float out front, we'll push up. All the way. Inhale, arms up. Exhale into your chair. Plug the shoulder blades in. Can we sink a little bit lower? Could we shift the weight into the left side and consider picking up the right leg and stepping it back to touch the floor? And then bring it right back. Shift into the right side, see if we can pick up the left toes, touch the toes back, and bring them back. Stand up all the way, nice and easy, we'll shake it out. All right, when you're ready, inhale up. Exhale, hinge into that forward fold, halfway lift. Pausing for a breath or two. And when you're ready, we're going to take that right leg and step it back. Drop down on that back knee, untuck the back toes, bring your blocks forward a little bit so they're in line with that foot. If you want to add any padding, add padding under that back knee or pick up the toes and fold your mat over if you don't have anything else. Straighten the left leg, heel down, toes up. We can leave the blocks in a little bit closer if we need to. Try not to drive weight into that left knee. As we inhale, we're lifting the torso, find more distance between the ribs and the hips here. As we exhale, we can hinge forward a little bit if you want to. What we're looking for is to feel it in the back of your hamstring on that left side, not the low back here. So if you find that hinging forward just feels terrible, bring the blocks in and sit up a little more, push through the heel, pull the toes towards the nose, and then we can take any of the crabbiness out of that back. We'll bring the blocks forward a little bit, bend the left knee, plant the left foot. Arms are going to come out in front, squeeze the thighs together, energetically draw your left heel towards that right knee, hug the belly, scoop the tailbone, should be a stretch here. When you're ready, 3 or 4 times as we inhale, we're going to float forward a little bit, and as we exhale, we're going to pull back. If you really want to push forward a lot, you can scooch the foot forward and really sink down, or we just let it be a little bit, and we're inhaling forward until we've got almost stacked, and exhale, pulling back. Always your practice, you decide. Maybe one more. We're going to take both blocks and stack them up on the right side, just inside the foot here. Right hand's going to come down to the block. Left hand can come to the thigh or to the blocks off to the side, whichever one you want to. Put some weight into the torso, press the hips forward a little bit. Could we consider, only if we have padding under that back knee, lifting the back foot a little bit? Maybe. And if it's painful for the kneecap, you don't need to do it. We'll leave the blocks in a place where you feel stable. I'm just lowering mine so I've got room. We're going to tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, push through the back heel. This is a little higher than we normally do it, but it should feel nice on the low back here. It's just like our normal kind of runner's lunge here. Because we're higher here, could we consider taking this straight into Warrior Two? Can we windmill the right arm up, start to pivot on the back foot, and then pull up? I saw it. Well done. Can we take it back down to the floor? I know, you just got up, right? Windmill back. Right arm comes back down to the floor. We pivot on the back toes, turn the back knee down, all the way down. Awesome. Awesome. All right, let the blocks come back up. This time we'll do nice and low. Hands on the floor, blocks off to the top, tuck the back toe, lift the back knee, push through the back heel. Squeeze that left knee in towards your rib cage just to get a little more intensity through that thigh. Can we take the left hand to the left side so we're framing the foot, one hand on the left, one hand on the right, and step to the top of the mat. Yep, we just take that back leg, bring it forward. Slowly push all the way up. Inhale, arms up overhead. Lift and reach. This time left arm stays up. We're going to dial that right hand down to the floor. Turn the right palm behind you, left hand in front. Inhale nice and tall. Reach through the left fingers. Draw down through the right fingers. Switch the arms when you're ready. Right arm's going to come up, palm forward. Left hand comes down, palm back. Inhale, we reach through the top fingers. Exhale, we reach through the bottom left hand. Back through center. Add a little shake if you need it. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, we're going to hinge into that forward fold, that halfway lift. Pause for a moment if you need it here. Pay particular attention to your low back, soft little knees. Scoop the tailbone up to the sky, push the floor away. Same thing, other side. So when you're ready, we're going to step that left leg back. Nice and big. Knee comes down, Untuck the toes, add padding under that left knee if you want it. Blocks come in. Straighten the right leg out. Heel down, toes up. Pay attention to the back here. You might want to take that right hand and use the back of your hand to double check that your hips are not pointed one way or the other. We want them pointed directly towards the short edge of your mat. Your choices are we're inhaling to lift and exhaling to hinge, or we're walking these blocks in nice and close, pushing through the heel, pulling toes towards the nose, nice upright torso. Your choice. We're just trying to find space in the back of the thighs. Take a few rounds of breath. Make sure that we have softness in that knee. Plant the right foot down. Your choice. It's either really far forward or it's exactly where it is. We're scooching forward and coming back. So blocks can be wherever you want them to be. Arms out, hug the belly, squeeze the thighs, energetically drawing right heel towards that left knee. Inhale, we're scooching forward a little bit, leaning. Exhale, we're pulling back. So normally we're just looking to stack the heel over the knee over the heel. It's okay if it comes forward a little bit. That is an action that happens when we're walking up the stairs. The kneecap does come over the heel. We just want to be mindful about it. Both blocks are going to come over to the left side, stacked up. Both hands come to the blocks. Press the hips forward a little bit, hug the belly, lift the chest. Could we think about lifting the toes off the floor? Gentle about that kneecap. Don't lift it up very much, just a little bit of a hover under the foot. Hug the belly, maybe we lift it up a couple times just to make that connection. Then when you're ready, hands on the block, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, push through the back heel. Squeeze the thighs together. You'll feel that help turn the hips. You're already on to me. We know we're going into our standing warrior 2 here. Left hand's going to spiral out. Foot's going to pivot. And then we're going to pull ourselves up. Flip the palms up, relax the shoulders. Maybe dial the back toes in a little bit more. Anytime you want to, we're coming down. Right hand comes down, left hand windmills. We dial the toes, knee drops. We'll scooch the blocks off to the side, hands come to the floor. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, push. Squeeze that right knee in a little bit. Could we step the right foot back and pause in plank? Take that right foot, put it back with the left foot. And then bring the knees down so we're right in tabletop. Shake the hips out. Awesome. Coming back into plank, can we step the toes out? One toe and then the other, hug the belly. Stack the heels over the toes. That should shift the heart over the thumbs. Walk the feet wide. Walk the feet together. Knees back down. Optional child's pose if it's your jam. If it's not, you can flip around on your back. Otherwise, knees together for low back support or knees open wide for easier hips opening here. Sink on back, hips over heels, find some support for the neck. Observe the breath here. We'll add a little side stretch, walking the hands over to the right. Inhale, belly comes off the thighs. As we exhale, we hinge forward a little more. Hands walk away, wrap the armpits towards the face. Level the shoulders out with the floor, soft jaw. Push into the fingertips a tiny bit to support the low back. Inhale through center. Exhale, hands over to that left side. Next inhale, belly comes up off the thighs, we lift up. Exhale, we hinge down, walk the hands away, wrap the armpits towards the face, level the shoulders out, push into the fingertips, and then soften and settle here. Try to make sure you're still centered on your heels. We don't want to sit too far off to one side because that can make your knees unhappy. We'll come up through center, rise up into our little tabletop, tuck the toes, hug the belly, scoop the tailbone towards those knees, flat back. We're going to lift the knees off the floor. We could push hands towards the top, toes towards the bottom, really ignite the fire in the belly. Gently come back down. Step the knees back, one step each. So we've got a wider tabletop. Hands are going to walk forward. Elbow creases point towards the top of the mat. We lower ourselves all the way down. Hug the elbows towards the body. Lower down till you get there. When you get there, maybe we add windshield wipers. Anything that you need. Maybe we just collapse in a nice little comfy pile. Bring the arms around front, out overhead, maybe in a Y, maybe reaching in line with the shoulders. Pick something that feels comfortable and sustainable for your shoulders. It shouldn't be painful. Reaching through the fingertips. When you're ready, inhale, press the hips into the floor and peel the chest and the arms up. Leave the bottom half of the body down. Inhale, we lift a little more. Exhale, tuck the chin, reach through the crown of the head, reach through the fingers, hug the belly. Come all the way down. You can rest one cheek or the other. Add any windshield wipers if you need them. We're going to walk the upper half of the body into our Sphinx pose, hugging those elbows underneath our shoulders. Hands are going to come a little bit across the midline. We're going to bring the right hand over to the left forearm so that we can lean the torso a little more to the left. Can we bend the right knee? Could we perhaps, leaving the left arm down, sweep the right arm back for some portion of the leg? Now the whole purpose of this is to try to stretch the front side of your calf, not to give yourself a Charlie horse in the back. So if it's uncomfortable, we can leave the hands down and just energetically lift that right knee up. Right foot's going to come back down. Release the torso back down, cross the arms, forearms on top of each other, feet wider than the mat. Toes dial towards the floor, heels dial towards the floor, toes dial out, coming into that crocodile pose. You can rest the forehead on the forearms. Hug those elbows back underneath our shoulders. Feet are going to come back together. Right hand down to the floor. Left hand's going to come over to the right forearm so we can lean a little bit more on the right side. Can we bend the left knee, picking up that left foot, letting it float up in the air? Perhaps we float the left arm back to grab some portion of it. Perhaps that's craziness. Don't worry about it. Push the hips into the floor a little bit more. Gently release. Lower the whole body back down to the floor. We'll take the arms out wide in cactus arms. So 90 degrees at the elbows. Elbows in line with your shoulders. Can we tuck the toes? Push through the heels. Press the hips into the floor. And then press the forearms and the elbows into the floor. And if you were doing that with your cheek turned to one side, take a minute to turn your head the other direction. If you did it with your head on the chin on the floor or the nose or the forehead, You don't have to necessarily do it again, but you could. Tuck the toes, push through the heels, press the hips into the floor, and then hug the floor with your arms, pressing everything in. Wrap the armpits towards the floor. Release the effort. Bend the knees, let them rock, feet rocking from side to side. We'll rise up into tabletop, hands come underneath the shoulders, lift the torso up. Gently peeking over the hips from side to side. We'll tuck the toes, hug the belly, scoop the tailbone. We're gonna come up through downward dog when you're ready. Lift the knees. Send the hips all the way up. Come up on tippy toes. Deep bend in both knees. Scoop the tailbone up to the sky. Push the floor away. Try to get the heart closer to the thighs. Wrap the armpits towards the face so your arms feel engaged, and then let the heels drop. If you feel anything in the low back here, come back up on the tippy toes, bend the knees, and scoop the tailbone. You can stay here with bent knees, long back. Walk the hands to the back where the feet are. Pausing in a halfway lift here. Little bend in the knees, hands will come up to the thighs. Reach through the crown of the head, roll the shoulders away from the ears. Soft jaw. Maybe we can straighten the legs a little bit here, it's up to you. Can we reach the arms towards the floor and work on those scapular push-ups here? The arms are reaching towards the floor, and then like we're plugging in the shoulder blades or grabbing the ropes, we're gonna let the fingers sag towards the floor and then pull the fingers in and close to the body. So we're plugging through the shoulders. You're welcome to watch me if you want to, but it's like fingers are heavy, they just sag, and then we pull them in and plug them in. And then the fingers sag, then we pull in. Deep bend in the knees, arms float out in front. We come onto the chair again and push all the way up. Nice, shake it out. From the back of the mat, can we work on some of our walking tree? Remember, there are bazillions of variations here, so pick one that feels fun today. Feet planted, pick up the toes, spread them out, soft knees, and we'll zip the thighs together. Roll the shoulders back and find a little spot out in front of you, maybe on the floor or on the wall, that we can help balance. Shift into the left side, inhale, right knee up. The arms could come up if we want. As we exhale, soften the left knee, hinge forward, right leg extends behind. Can you pause here? Wrapping the right hip towards the floor, pushing the left leg out. Maybe we bring the arms out to the sides. When you're ready, we'll inhale back up, arms overhead, right foot steps, left leg lifts. Another inhale, exhale, we hinge forward, pausing here. Flex that left foot, push the floor away with the right leg, hips pointed towards the floor, arms could sweep out, palms towards the floor, lift the chest. If you want to do two more, one more, whatever you do, make your way. Mosey. The real power here and stability comes from the contact with the foot and that standing leg. You really want to push the floor away to get as strong as we can. Nice. Shake the hips out whenever you get up to the top. All right, we're going to work on our IT band stretch. So we've got two choices. We know that we can fold forward. If folding forward isn't something you want to do, remember you can cross the right leg over the left leg, and instead of hinging forward, we can bring the arms up and lean the hands to the left to try and get a little more on the right. I'm gonna fold forward, but whichever one you choose. Right foot over top, knees bend, hands on the hips. Inhale to lift, exhale to hinge forward. Hands come down to the blocks. Pick up the toes, squeeze the thighs together a little bit here. That should help automatically hug everything together. Toes back down. And then if we're folded, we're working on those hula hips. We're peeking around to see if we could look in our right pocket, and then peeking around to see if we can look in that left pocket. Nice, and you can do the peeking without actually turning the head. The head will move a little bit from side to side, shortening one side waist, lengthening the other. Try to keep connection between those knees. Can you soften the jaw here and let the head be heavy? Shake it a little yes, a little no. With the hands on the blocks, just uncross that right foot, bend the knees, and slowly stand up. Awesome. Other side, left leg's gonna come up and over. We're trying to get the feet as close together as we can get them while being stable. Back knee bends so it kisses the front. Hands on the hips. Inhale tall. Exhale, we hinge. Folding forward, bring those hands down to support you. Pick up the toes, squeeze the thighs together. That automatically will give you a stretch. Even here, are we getting short-waisted? Do we need to walk the blocks away a little bit so that we can create a longer torso? Push the floor away with those blocks so the weight of the upper half of the body is supported by the arms and not those legs. Add hula hips if you want to. Anytime you feel done, you're just going to stay where you are, lift that left leg out and step it to the left. You can shimmy the hips out here, marching in place with the hands on the blocks. And then gently come up. Shake it out. All right, a little bit of dance of Shiva here, but remember these don't have to be the biggest movements. Think about, especially if your thighs are feeling a little bit crazy. We're gonna try to make sure you have room in front of and behind. So I'm gonna step forward a little bit so I have room behind. Right leg, we're gonna bring that right heel forward. Toes are gonna come up. We have to bend that left knee a little bit. But you can come up mostly into a stand. You don't need to be sinking into a super deep squat here. All right, left arm's gonna sweep up, hinge forward a little bit, and then step, kick the left foot up, and then back. And then we kick left leg, left arm up and back. Nice. Can we, at some point, stop and lift the left leg and cross the midline with the hand and the foot? Can you lift a little more through that top elbow, drop the bottom elbow a little bit, and hug the belly? Gently step back down, shake it out. Go back to where you had a little bit of room. Same thing, other side. So this time, you're gonna bend the knees a little bit. Left leg comes forward, heels down, toes up, hinge a tiny bit. Right arm's gonna float up. And then anytime you're ready, step into that left foot. Right leg kicks up, right arm swings, and then we let arm come back, leg come back, left toes dial up. Kicking up, and then rocking back. If it feels nice to pause here, I get a really nice stretch in the back of this left leg. You could hang out here for a second if that felt good. Anytime you feel ready, pause, lifting the leg, crossing the midline, cross the midline with the wrist, open through that top shoulder, top elbow, a little more push through the foot, hug the belly. Can we stand up a little taller? Gently come back down, shake it out. Heel toe a little bit wider. We don't have to hop into it. Left toes are gonna dial towards the top, right toes are gonna come in. Arms are gonna float out and we'll sink into a warrior two. This doesn't have to be your deepest warrior two, whatever feels comfortable. Right arm comes down, left arm comes overhead. Can we lean a little bit to the left? We'll come back to the center, switch the arms, and look to the left. So this time we're not going to hinge back at all, we're just going to look to the left. Switch one more time, left arm over, right arm under, lean to the left. Back through center, switch, and look to the left. Can we bring the left arm overhead and the right arm behind the back? You can let it just rest down low. Switch the arms, left hand's gonna come behind, right arm's gonna come overhead. So just back and forth a few times, floating that bottom arm behind your back. Let the arms come all the way out. Crisscross in front. Walk the hands up the shoulders, give yourself a big hug. Straighten that front leg. Dial the toes towards the long edge of the mat. Dial the heels in a tiny bit. Gently hug those elbows down towards the body. We're gonna look to the right, then look to the left. Look out in front, see which arm's on top, that one's gonna go on the bottom. Big inhale, we open the arms out big. Exhale to crisscross. Walk the hands along those shoulders. Elbows hug together. Bring the elbows down. Reach through the crown of the head. Soften the jaw. This time, could we bend the knees? Both knees just a little bit. We're going to look to the left and look to the right. And stand back up. Release the hands. Shake them out. Left toes are going to dial towards the top. Maybe scooch it forward a little bit. Right toes dial in a little bit. Easy warrior two. This doesn't have to be the biggest warrior two ever. This is just enough to get a little bit of exercise, a little bit of movement. Hands are going to float down in front, reaching towards the floor. And we're going to lift the arms out straight in front, open out, and then dial the fingers behind the body. And we open back out. Fingers come together in front and drop down. Same shape, up, out, down and behind, out, together, back down. One more time. Can we find a little more bend in that front knee? Doesn't need to be a lot. Let the arms float back out. Find something that feels like a comfortable warrior two. Palms up, shoulders down, little shimmy shake, then gently flip the palms down. Powerfully reach in both directions. Hug the belly, connect through the feet here. Can we push the feet into the floor just a smidge? And then straighten the legs, dial the toes in, slow and easy. Pedal it out a little bit, walking in place. All right, one Malasana prayer squat if you want it. Remember, there are a couple ways to get into it. We're just meeting down on the mat, however you choose to get there. Feet a little bit wide, toes out. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, we can sink down. We've got some choices. I could hinge forward, bring my hands to the floor and walk back a little bit, maybe to get into that position better, whatever works. Don't be afraid to experiment. Hands together, in line with the elbows. Elbows push into knees. Knees squeeze. It's that squeezing that lets us pop out of our turtle shell. It's the chain reaction. When you're ready, all the way down. Swivel the legs around, recline back, hug the knees into the chest, add some circles. Straighten the left leg out, squeeze that right leg in, hover the left heel for just a moment, reaching long, then let the left leg come down. Right knee's gonna come across the body into a twist. Arms out wide, walk the shoulders up the mat, spiral the palms, the elbows, the armpits up to the sky a tiny bit. Make sure we're protecting the belly and the low back. Hug the belly, scoop the tailbone towards that bottom leg. Lots of choices here. If we're focusing on providing a little extra stretch for our thigh, you'll want to bend that bottom knee and move it towards the midline of the mat, maybe with a little pointed toe there. If you can grab it with the right hand, palm up to the sky, you could kick that bottom foot into the hand to get a little more stretch. Just decide what feels accessible and comfortable. We know we can build strength by lifting the bottom leg. We can just hang out here. Release, roll back through center. Heel toe the feet a little bit wider than the mat, so you can take some wide leg windshield wipers, rocking on those heels. You can add arms if you want to or not. Left knee will squeeze in, right leg's gonna hover out, walk the shoulders up the mat. Let that right leg come down. Left knee crosses the body, stack the hips. Walk the shoulders up the mat again, arms out wide. Anything here in the twist that makes sense to you. Hug the belly, scoop the tailbone towards that bottom leg. If you're taking the bind to try to get more stretch here, make sure that left palm is up to the sky and we're grabbing the bottom edge of the foot. And perhaps we're kicking the foot into the hand, or perhaps we're pressing the hip bones forward a little bit. Release and come back through center. Knees bent, feet planted on the floor. Take a few pelvic tilts here. Inhaling, belly comes up. Exhaling, scooping tailbone towards those knees, finding connection. Make sure the feet are about hip distance apart. We're going to pick up that right foot off of the floor, building a little bit of a chair pose behind that right knee. Both hands are going to come over to just below the knee. This is that isometric squeezing. We're just doing it with one leg at a time. So hug the belly, scoop the tailbone, low back should be flat and grounded, hands on that right leg. 90 degrees behind the knee. When you're ready, push the hands in, squeeze the knee back. And then release and set that right foot down. Same thing on the left side. Chair pose on that left leg. Flexed foot, hands come over to just below the knee. Hug the belly, push the hands, squeeze the knee back. Don't be afraid to use that right foot to brace yourself here. Release. Both knees will come into the chest. Give yourself a little squeeze or some circles, whatever feels nice here. Both legs together. This doesn't need to be more than 6 seconds. Hug the belly, build your chair pose, flex the feet. You should be able to see toes over those knees. Knees stacked over hips. Hands just below the knees. Hug the belly, scoop the tailbone, push with the hands, squeeze back with the knees. Woo! Let it go. And assume the position, whatever Shavasana shape would suit you right now. If there's anything else left that you'd like to do, you could add a little cobbler's pose as your resting pose. You can add some happy baby. You can simply stretch out exactly as you are. In a few minutes, I'll invite you back. Start to deepen the breath. Inviting your mind back to the space. Wiggling fingers and toes and taking whatever other movement you might need. Maybe turning the head from side to side, massaging the occipital ridge. In your own time, we'll meet in an upright, seated shape. Eyes can be open or closed. We'll inhale, arms up overhead, palms to touch. And bring them down to the forehead. May your mind be full of positivity and possibility. And to your lips. May your words be full of kindness and compassion. And to your heart center. May your heart be full of passion and purpose. Namaste. Thanks for being with me.